Hey everyone, welcome to another stream and welcome Teacup. Don't worry. Yeah, so today we will have another race in the Tom Hanks Racing Series. We will have race 2 in round number 2, and today we're going to be racing on the automation racetrack. So I'm firing up BeamNG right now, and then we can get into that. All right, so automation test track, racetrack circuit, 2 laps, rolling start, fastest lap counts as always. And again, as always, I'll start with my own car. Alrighty. I have to adjust my position on my chair here. I still have to get used to BeamNG driving physics because again I've played quite a bit of Forza recently. It's not that they're vastly different in the driving physics, especially when you get to the into the more downforce focused cars in Beam. Then they also kind of stick, just like a lot of cars in Forza do. And hey, Grid Ghost, how are you doing? Could have braked a lot later, yeah. Yeah, my weekend so far has been sort of a little bit uneventful, but good nonetheless. We've been playing a lot of Pokemon Violet recently. I had to think there for a second how that edition is called in English. It's just Scarlet and Violet, but the one I have I think is Violet. The future themed one as opposed to the past themed one. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. There is a Terra Raid event going on at the moment with a 7-star Terra Raid with a Charizard. And I've cleared that multiple times. Obviously you can only catch that Charizard once, but you can still get all the other rewards from that raid, like tons and tons of EXP candies and other rare rewards. So yeah, that's why I've done it multiple times. Need for Speed Unbound. Now that's something I wanted to talk to you guys about while I'm still, preparing here. Would anyone like to see me play it? Because I've seen videos about it, and it let's be honest, it's not a proper substitute for the old Need for Speed Underground games. That was a good lap up until that point, almost 2 seconds ahead, but anyway. Would you guys like to see me play Need for Speed Unbound? Because while it isn't really a good substitute for the old school Need for Speed Underground games, it has a vibe, doesn't it? It definitely looks better and more fun than recent Need for Speed games. brake a little bit earlier there, I guess. No tuning. Well then the decision is pretty clear, isn't it? I'm not gonna play it. Very smooth around there. Not quite sure if we were facing some brake fade or if the tires overheated there or whatever, but this normally didn't do that on the braking there. Thankfully I saved it, but that definitely cost a lot of time there. But honestly, sub 150, there we go. Ooh, okay, so I feel warmed up. By the way, guys, this is the opportunity here before we start. If you enjoyed the stream, please leave a like, it really helps out. And let's get into the actual competitors. So, starting from the bottom of the current overall standings, we have the Phoenix GT3. It is awesome. Okay. Now I can catch up with everything you said because I only caught a glimpse of the messages so far. But I would like to see it. It has awesome customization. Okay. No tuning. The physics are floaty. Okay. Well. I guess we have to remember also that Need for Speed games have, well, maybe with the exception of the Shift games, they have always been very arcadey, very sort of beginner friendly, not sim-esque at all. So no like detailed tuning. Oh, well, I guess Underground 2 did that very well though. You could really tune the cars a lot in that game, much more so than in most other Need for Speed games, again, except for Shift. But other than Underground 2, as far as the old like classic Need for Speed games, let's say like Underground 1 and 2, Most Wanted and Carbon, the big four, if you will, they had a lot of parts that you could install, but not really much that you would, not a lot of like individual tuning, not a lot of custom tuning, again, except Underground 2. So honestly, What I don't understand with EA games and the Need for Speed games is they've remade like the 2011 or whatever it was version of Hot Pursuit. They've made that in like 2020, I think. They've remade Most Wanted. They've remade other titles, but why not Underground and Underground 2? Just literally copy paste the story and like the general map layout and update it with 2022 level graphics, and boom, people would be happy. I'm sure about it. Oh, come on now. I thought I could bring in the power, but now we're running wide here. Still barely behind the first lap. Easy flat there. No torque whatsoever. And we're gonna be slower. Welcome back, Teacup. I had a bit of an error in the second lap with this car here. Perfect timing, by the way, because this is the first actual competitor. This is the Phoenix GT3 twin turbo. First flying lap was the better one, 155.991. Yeah, it would take a lot of development to, but my question is, if they were able to do that like 20 years ago, what's stopping them now, right? Next is the Durandal Cassowary, because like surely today's machines and today developing software has probably become much more efficient than it was 20 years ago, both due to the modern hardware that can just run a lot more instructions and operations at the same time, but also I would assume that the software is more efficient than it was back then. Granted, of course, today software is more complex and it takes just more coding in general. But again, if they were able to do it 20 years ago, then I'm sure they can do it again. Had to lift there just a little bit. downforce on the braking means the car is going to do that. We caught it, and so for next lap I'm going to brake a little bit earlier. I think we are having a pretty solid start with this car here. Again, always remember with this that we have very, very low downforce, so the gotta brake a little bit sooner than in other cars, which is why I was late there. Then you gotta roll it in, be a bit patient until it hooks up. Here on the long straight is where it can shine, at least for a little bit, right before we gotta lift again. Bring it in. Keep it pinned until about here. Washing wide, but we're still okay. Brake about here. Bit early this time, but better too early than too late, because you're not gonna get this back on track if you are indeed too late. Overall, fairly clean, but definitely not perfect lap here. And once again, this beats the Phoenix handily. 153.416 for the Durandal. Not looking too good for the Phoenix's chances overall. Pretty sure it's out after this race. As we will continue with the next car here, which is the FNS Macro GT500. Okay. Again, this thing is quite fast in a straight. I mean, they all are, but this one is one of the, even comparatively speaking, one of the faster ones. And it was flat through there. Could have braked way later for this one. understeer there through that corner. And onto the finish straight. Much faster than last lap. Hello Adderall, how's it going? Let's brake later than last time. That was too late. So we're going wide. That was pretty bad on that last corner. But we're still gonna beat the Durandal. 153.147. Yeah, plenty of mistakes with this one, I gotta be honest. But still finished out of the Durandal. Next is the Aeon A3 ZC Soul Pair. And this one I'm kind of looking forward to whether this or the HFF is gonna win, because these two have kind of been switching positions in the past couple of races, and so I'm excited to see which one comes out on top this time. A wiggle there. Much faster first split on the opening lap than the other cars before. It is losing some time here on the long straight compared to some of the other cars before. Could have braked later again. Welcome to the stream, Noodle. we have much time to keep up with chat here. Because this thing's keeping me busy. Again, early on the brakes for that one, could have braked even later than that. And here as well. But I was a bit late last lap, so that's why I chose to brake a little bit earlier this time. And that's gonna be a 151.961. Ooh, yeah. That is going to be the lead, but how long will it last now with the HFF coming up? We'll see. I think it's gonna be a battle. Those two have been pretty evenly matched so far. So let's see it. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely believe that it took quite a while to make. And it is also my favorite car out of the bunch in terms of aesthetics, for sure. In terms of driving characteristics, hard to say, because like really everyone did a good job this time. Like every car has its own personality here, and I love that. Even though the stats on paper between all of these cars are very, very similar, and even identical in some instances, pretty much. In terms of power, weight, drivetrain, gearbox, whatnot, tires used, they're very, very similar, and yet they are very different to drive. So that's what makes it fun to me as well. I hope it is fun for you guys to watch too, and gals, of course. So here we have even more downforce, it seems, than on the Aeon, and I could have braked even much later than that, so discount this lap, even though it is fairly quick so far. But this is definitely suffering on that long straight. I think you can have too much downforce. I also think you can have too much torque. Wanted to break loose there again, didn't let it. I'm gonna restart, because the first lap was scuffed, and this second lap was gonna be scuffed too, and I want every car to have at least one one fair lap. After that mistake that I made with that braking for the first chicane, the lap was not gonna go anywhere, so I want every car to have a fair representation of what it's truly capable of. Okay, let's the second lap is always going to be faster on this track anyway, because of where the rolling start is, on how far back you start, or on how close to the finish line, I guess, you start on this rolling lap. Normally you'd start just before the final corner, whereas here you're already on the like halfway down the last straight. This was a very clean opening for the HFF here. Though again, the second lap is gonna be faster than this one, just because of where you start the rolling lap. Could have braked even later than that, maybe even close to the 150 meter mark. So just behind the 100 meter mark there is good for that chicane. Oh. Can't let the Black Widow bite you, or else you're in trouble. Laid on the brakes there. Let's try and put it together here on this second flying lap. Okay, we're already ahead of the previous lap, but the mistakes happened later in the lap. Could have braked even later than that. Bit of a wider alignment there. Let's take as much speed out of there as we can to compensate. And it's gonna be the Aeon this time, barely, less than a tenth of a second. And that's definitely also definitely also due to driver error, I'd say. Look, I think the Aeon and this are very evenly matched on this track. I don't think I wouldn't say that I came close to a perfect lap on either of them, but yeah, very close in lap time. Let me keep up with chat here. It's lovely seeing the Solpier get dragged properly. Well, thanks for calling what I do ragging it properly. I appreciate that. Otherwise, doesn't have the most downforce, but it has the most drag. Yep, that helps with slowing it down on the braking. Spent about 3 years on the you can have too much torque. Absolutely, I think if the car is gonna be two-wheel drive only, like the cars are in this challenge, then you can definitely have too much torque. In torque we trust. Yeah. Okay. So next up is Grid Ghost. Very close to getting carried all the way into the barrier, just under acceleration out of the corner, but did not actually make contact with the barrier. So we're still good. And massive downforce in this car as well. In fact, so much that the turning, like it was so pointy there that I needed to correct for a second, and then that upset, and then the counter steering to that upset the car. And I spun, so gotta be more precise with my inputs there. What I am surprised about as well, and I think I've said this before during the season, but I'm surprised nobody went rear-engined. Like this platform, for example, in particular, would have lent itself to going rear-engined. And given that it sounds like a Porsche due to the engine choice, I think it would have made a pretty interesting thing to experiment with. Let's try and get a clean lap here. That's not what would constitute a clean lap. I'm still 6 tenths ahead of the first flying lap. Shows how much that rolling start position, shows how much of a difference that makes. Versus an actual rolling, like flying lap. See it, and that's a 151.15. Very strong performance, ahead of the Aeon Solpier. Because actually it's on this track, so this will be interesting. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so you did have another concept car for this with a rear engine design. Okay, it's didn't quite make the cut though, apparently. But yeah, that's fine. Honestly, I was expecting. Well, first of all, I wasn't expecting IMKR to submit a car that then got DQ'd. But that, if anyone was gonna make a rear engine car that actually worked well, I thought it was gonna be IMKR, but unfortunately he did get disqualified for using the wrong brakes and the wrong gearbox. What surprises me most of all up until now is that my own car is actually still the fastest, well, with 2 more cars to go. But then again, I've driven my own car around this track way more times than any of the other cars. So in a way, it's not that surprising. But it did get beaten around all the other tracks by, at the very least, Grid Ghost, like every single time. I think it lost to Adderall and Noodle as well on the other tracks, but here, technically, it's still in the lead. The preview for the stream was a little bit choppy there for a second. Was that actually the case there for you? I don't know what's happening. Like every so many streams, all of a sudden it starts doing this BS, and I changed nothing. Neither a driver update, nor a Windows update, nor changed any OBS settings. It just doesn't like. It just doesn't want to cooperate. It just doesn't want to work properly. See, this is the... This is the frustration I have with streaming, is that every so often the stream is just gonna be completely messed up and I haven't done any changes. Super frustrating, but anyway, we have a new leader. The Blackheart Corsair is indeed faster again than the Scarab THRS, and it's about 0.7 of a second faster, 150.463. Eats Teacup's car before it completes the lap. But we will go to the final car yet again, the Tempest Mag Mobile, because it won like every race so far. However, if there is a chance, like if there's a chance that it might not win on one track, I'd say it's probably this one, because of the high-speed nature of it. This has so much downforce that really costs it on the longer straights that this track has. It is the fastest through the corners for sure. But how much time is it gonna lose on the straights? Whenever we get into this sort of high-speed area, I guess that's where maybe the bit rate is just too high. Although again, last time it was it worked perfectly and I didn't change anything. So if the bit rate was fine last time, I guess Hirochi isn't as high speed of a track as the other Mation track, so maybe that's got something to do with it. It's too fast for the stream. Right, the first couple of cars didn't have the issue, did they? I've braked even later than I did. Almost got in trouble there. on now. 150.002. So with that mistake, coming out of that final corner, this is actually not. This is actually the first time that no car was faster in my hands than my own car. Though, disclaimer, obviously I drove my own car way more than any of the other cars, so don't make too much out of that. Still, I'm happy with, at least under certain circumstances, beating everyone else. But nonetheless, Kenshiro once again coming first, Teacup second, Grid Ghost third, Noodle very closely ahead of Adderall this time, then Tez, then Armor Motors, and the Phoenix GT, Phoenix GT3 once again coming in last place, meaning it will get knocked out, and we will continue with the remaining cars for the final 2 races. Thank you guys, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope to see you again next time. Enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.